Leading people to support the government.
With 4 very marginal seats at play in Western Australia, the campaigning here has been relentless. The battleground seats are Hasluck, Stirling, Swan and Cowan. All are on margins of 2% or less. To discuss the campaign and the likely result, I was joined earlier by the Education Minister Julie Bishop and the Member for Perth, Labor's Education Spokesman, Stephen Smith. Julie Bishop, Stephen Smith, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
To you first, Julie Bishop. The polls have been nothing but consistent for most of the year. Is it all over bar the shouting for the Liberal Party?
Well, this election has been about substance versus spin, and the question the Australian people have to ask is, are we better off today than when Labor was in government? And undeniably the question is yes. Unemployment hit 1 million people when Labor were in office, and it's now at a record low.
Have you prepared yourself, though, for the end of your ministerial career in another 24 hours?
I've prepared myself to spend all day tomorrow at booths in my electorate, and that's what I'm focusing on. And as I say, the question the Australian people have to ask, the test is, are we better off today? Is the country heading in the right direction? And if the answer is yes, then don't risk Labor. Stephen Smith, is Labor over the line?
No, I think this is going to be very close and very tight. There are a couple of polls out today which are mixed. There's a news poll out tomorrow which I'm told is tightening up. So I've always been of the view that it's going to be a tight and close contest. And
are you confident, though?
I'm confident it'll be close. That's what I am confident of. We've got 16 seats to win, and the Liberal Party campaign professionals are openly saying they think they can win the poll if they get 48% of the two-party preferred vote nationally. I'm confident that Labor will get a majority of the vote across the nation. The test will be, can we get a majority of the votes in a majority of the seats? 16 seats is a big ask, and that's why, for example, the 4 marginal seats in Perth will be absolutely crucial to the outcome.
Julie Bishop, can you identify a best and a worst campaign moment for the Liberal Party?
Well, I think overall for Labor, and looking at it from our perspective, it's just been a walking slogan. I mean, Kevin Rudd has been a walking slogan. He's memorised about 10 phrases, 10 sentences, doesn't answer a question unless he just reels out these lines. So from our point of view, his robotic performance has been a highlight. From
our worst moment?
Our best moment was the Prime Minister's announcement of the $34 billion in tax cuts, because that set the agenda. It was true to Liberal Party philosophy and values and beliefs. From then on, Labor just played catch-up with policies. Worst moments, well, every campaign has down moments, and we've seen a few of them on both sides, but I'm not here to judge the campaign. I'm here to look forward to what Australians will be waking up to on Sunday morning, and hopefully that is the strong economic management of the Howard Costello team.
Stephen Smith, a best and a worst moment for Labor?
Well, you always have rough and smooth during campaigns. I thought the best moment for Labor was a score draw between the debate, which I thought Kevin Rudd showed. He had the assurity and the confidence and the calmness to become Prime Minister, and our campaign launch, where he showed that we were striking out to the future. I think, sort of, in a sense, the worst moment for the Liberal Party was the pretend first time in 11 years Howard and Costello on TV together, which just confirmed that if you vote for Howard, all you're doing is voting for his retirement. He's off. You'll get no choice about who the Prime Minister will be. If Howard wins, it'll become Costello. So I thought that was their worst moment. We've had, as you always do, you know, the odd rough edge of the campaign, but overall I think the quality of our campaign has been Kevin Rudd just showing time and time again that he's for the future, not the past, that he's young and fresh, not old and stale, and he wants to take up the challenges, whether it's education, whether it's broadband, whether it's climate change, all of the areas that Howard has neglected.
I note that you've both squibbed on the worst moment question. Julie Bishop, according to the most recent news poll, Labor does lead in all states but Western Australia. Why is it that the Liberal Party does well in Western Australia?
Well, I think Western Australians have a very finely tuned bulldust detector. They can pick a fake. They were the first to see through Mark Latham, and I think they've seen through Kevin Rudd. They know he's just a walking slogan. Their policies have been like a mirage. It all looks fine in the desert, but the closer you get to them, the thinner they become, and then they disappear. That's why Labor didn't put in their policies for costing with the Department of Finance till the very last minute, knowing that the department wouldn't have time to cost them. So the Australian people don't know whether Labor can deliver on their promises. They certainly know Labor can't manage money.
Why does Labor not get the traction here that it appears to have done in the other states?
Well, you've got 16 to 17 years of continuous economic growth. A lot of that set up by the structural changes the previous Labor government made. We've now had up to 4 or 5 years of a minerals and petroleum resources boom to China, which has served the Western Australian economy magnificently. So we've had 10% economic growth. John Howard tries to claim that. The truth is qualitatively different. But it'll be very tight here. But I get a lot as I go about of people saying, we think time is up. We want to have a look at the campaign to make sure that we can hand over to Kevin Rudd and Labor with satisfaction, and I think the campaign has showed that Kevin Rudd is certainly up to the task, as are we.
For the Liberal Party, has this campaign been as polished as previous campaigns? Are you pleased with how it's been conducted?
Well, look, a campaign is not about how many spin doctors you can employ. A campaign is about being judged on your record, what you've done for the country in the past and the direction you're taking the country. And that's what I get as I travel around the electorate, particularly the electorates in Western Australia. People recognise that the country is heading in the right direction. We've got the lowest unemployment in decades. You know, a guy came in to see me the other day who's been unemployed for over 10 years. He's just been offered a job by a small business who has the confidence to offer a long-term unemployed person a job. And yet we see today that small business, in a survey of 1,800 businesses across Australia, have lost confidence because they fear a Rudd Labor government. Now, that's what campaigns should be about, putting forward your policies, your focus on the future, not just coming up with spin and slogans that have been made up by somebody else.
Stephen Smith, we've heard a lot about don't risk Labor, and we've been warned about the party's links to the union movement. How much damage, can you quantify how much damage they may have done to your campaign?
I think that goes right to the heart of the Liberal Party campaign and why the government is tired, old, stale and out of ideas. We've seen no positive policy proposal or plan for the future. It's all been about the past, and it's all been about fear and negativity. And in the end, I think the Western Australian community and the Australian community will see through that. They want to have a government that will confront the challenges of the future. We've seen nothing from John Howard about the future other than he'll retire and hand over to Peter Costello without the people of Perth or Western Australia or Australia having a say in that.
Julie Bishop, a final question to you. If you are thrown out of office tomorrow, will the country really be any different in 3 years' time?
If the government changes tomorrow, the country will change. Currently, the country is confident, it's prosperous and it's successful. And that's because over the last 10, 11 years, we've built a strong economy. We're taking the country in the right direction. Of course it will change. And the trouble is we don't know what Labor really stands for anymore. They've vacated the field of ideas. They haven't put any of their policies in for costing in time for the Australian public to know whether they can deliver on their promises. Of course the country will change. And for the worse.
Stephen Smith,
you don't change unless it's for the better. In this case, it would not be to go to a Rudd Labor government.
A final right of reply?
Well, if there is a change on Saturday, the change for the country will be for the better. You'll have a young, fresh government interested in fresh ideas, wanting to take on the great challenges of the future that have been complacently neglected by this government, whether it's investing in education, skills and training, investing in high-speed broadband to bring us up to international comparisons, or whether it's taking on the challenge, the great social, environmental and economic challenge of climate change, the areas where the Howard government and the Howard Costello government have just squandered their time and squandered their years. It'll be a change for the better, where the challenges of the future are confronted.
We'll leave it there. Thank you very much to both of you for joining me.